You're listening to the PT Profit Podcast, episode number 406. Today, we're breaking down how to get clients on Instagram as a health pro. Are you ready? Let's get started. What's up, coach? Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of the PT Profit Podcast. I'm your host, Beverly Simpson. And if you're a personal trainer, a health coach, nutrition coach, or a fitness coach, or a physical therapist trying to use online services to generate more clients, whether you're building in person, online, or a combination of both, this episode is for you. I'm your host, Beverly Simpson, and if this is the first time you're hanging out with me today, welcome. I'm super pumped that you're here. As a former district fitness manager for a national gym responsible for bringing in $2.1 million per year, hiring and developing personal trainers and fitness managers, only to start my own business and generate seven figures in the online space in my time together, I've learned a thing or two. And today we are beginning a series of how we can build a profitable business in the online space, specifically with Instagram. And for the start of the series, we're diving deep into Instagram strategies. So first and foremost, I want to break down why, and I won't spend too much time here because you're tuning into this video, so clearly you already know the power of Instagram. But one of the reasons why people avoid Instagram, and maybe you're feeling this too, people will say things like, it's too saturated, I don't have enough views, I don't have enough followers. And there's a lot of reasons as to why they don't spend time on Instagram, or they think that their clients aren't on there. Given statistically that there are over 500 million users per day with an average of 2 billion users per month, statistically speaking, I'm willing to bet that your customers and clients are on there. So Instagram happens to be one of my favorite platforms because it is the fastest place to connect. Now, while it is true that TikTok is rolling out DM conversations, people have been trained to have conversations and connections inside of Instagram more so than TikTok. While it is true that the chances of someone spending hundreds of dollars plus committing to you from a 7-second reel is unlikely, Instagram is the best, most curated place and way to go from never hearing of you before to having a conversation and connection inside of the DM, which is the fastest and the best way, in my opinion, to connect with a potential client. Now, for the purposes of this video, we need to break down the difference between a customer and a client, because in my business and for my accelerators, there's very different language around who's a customer and who's a client. And this is because in my world, I teach my people how to use low ticket offers. So low ticket is anything under $100 is what I would consider a low ticket lead, meaning someone who is committed and willing to pay in order to pay attention and committed to themselves, not to me. This way, you get paid to acquire a lead, they get results in advance, and it deepens the sense of trust in your process, not in you as a person, but trust in your process. They get results and then reach out to you to become a client. So I think of a customer as someone who has purchased from you, someone who has entered your world and made a transaction in order to have a transformation. And a client is someone who's looking for that customized personal attention the faster way. So if we're going to think about the ascension model and how people learn and acquire skills, it really comes down to do it yourself, going to YouTube University and spending all the time and money and resources that it takes to acquire the skill, or you could do it yourself in a way where you save time and money because there's a step-by-step process in how you acquire the skill, or there's a done with you component. So there is more customized coaching. This is when we become a client, and then a done for you experience where I'm going to do all the work for you. So that is how we differentiate the difference between a customer versus a client. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how we get clients. Then by the end of this series, I'll show you how we take customers and how we acquire customers and turn customers into clients. So stay tuned. But first, in today's video, let's unpack the best way to acquire clients on Instagram. So step one, the very first thing that we're going to do is get clear on our intention and clear where we are in the process. So for example, when you become an accelerator client and you come on board, 9 times out of 10, the first thing that we do is run a rapid lead launch, which means that 3% of your audience right now, and maybe not whether you have 100 followers or 200 followers, but 3% of the audience that you have access to, whether it's your current audience, whether it's your friends and family connections, whether it's other people's audience, there are people who are ready and want what it is that you have, especially your customized approach. And the truth, when you go to scale, meaning you build your business, your machine in a specific way in which you attract people who've never heard of you before and turn them into customers and clients, that is going to need resources, time, energy, effort, and cash. And so sometimes when my accelerators are coming into the container, we work on executing a rapid lead launch so that you can acquire the next 1 to 5 clients within the next 7 to 14 days. So you can get a cash infusion to build out the scaling machine. So if you're using this training to either let's just test and get your first 1 to 5 clients, or maybe it's your next 1 to 5 clients so that you get that cash infusion to build out the machine. So step 1, get really clear on your intention. Are you trying to get your first 5 clients? Or are you trying to get your next 5 clients so that you have a cash infusion? Why this matters is because one of 2 things often happens. You're either going to get DMs flooded, or you're going to get nothing. And what happens to a lot of accelerators when the nothing happens is they start to think, oh, this process doesn't work, or they start to think, oh, nobody wants my stuff. And when the reality is one of 2 things have happened. We don't have the access to the current audience that we thought we had. So that's good news. It's data. Or 2, we need to work on how we can position the value of the next step. But 9 times out of 10 is because the audience that we have in front of us isn't the right audience for this potential offer. That's not a bad thing. It's just data. Or you're like my client, Sophia, who generated $3,000 in your first 7 days in our time together. Or you're like my client, Shonda, who generated $8,000 in her 5-day rapid lead launch. So this process definitely works. And if I needed an extra 5 to 10K in the next 7 days, this is exactly what I would do. If I needed an extra 5 to 10K in the next 7 days, what we're about to unpack with Instagram specifically, this is one of the main components of exactly what I would do. Okay, step 2, let's make sure we have optimized our Instagram storefront. So I did a video, which I'll link up here, or I'll link in the show notes if you're tuning into the podcast, on how to build your Instagram profile. But your profile matters. And when we're thinking about hooks, whether it's your content or whether it's the first time they see you, you have 0 to 3 seconds to capture attention and then 4 to 7 seconds to keep it. And so like I tell my clients all the time, you have 4 questions that you really need to be answering at all times, whether it's your free content or your paid content, which is, why should I listen to you? So this is your authority and expertise statement. Now, I could do a different training on this at one point, or the difference between authority and expertise, because I probably don't have to tell you there are people out there right now with less expertise than you and more authority. So you still need to have this authority statement so that you can answer the question in your people's mind, why should I believe you? Then you need to answer, will this work? So this is a sense of trust in your process. Will this work for me? Can you remove any doubt around why this process won't work? And then, do I need this now? That's how you take someone who's never heard of you before and turn them into a customer. And so when you are in the Instagram world, the 3 first places that people are going to see that information is your profile photo. So make sure that it's bright, clear, warm. People connect with people. So if you're building a brand, there are other places to put your logo. Your name and your handle. Those are the first 3 seconds, 3 places that are going to bring someone to click it and then go to your profile. And then there, your first impression, you need to answer those questions within the first 7 seconds of coming to your profile. Will this work? Will this work for me? Do I need this now? Why should I listen to you? I'll link a training that I went deeper on how to set this up. Step 3, have to implement conversion content. Most people are told to build, know, like, and trust, just add a ton of value without really unpacking what valuable content actually is, what it actually means to build, know, like, and trust. And then people are either caught doing one or more things. They're on the content hamster wheel of sounding like putting all their best tips and tricks away for free and sounding like Google. And no one ever engages, likes, comments, or goes into the DMs, or they're getting tons of like, this is great, this is valuable, I'm so motivated, I'm going to do this, thank you so much. But it's not turning into customers and it's not turning into clients. When the truth is people actually underestimate the amount of content that is actually required to turn someone into a customer or into a client. This is why we build pressure-free sales systems where it gets to take what it takes until it takes. So what that means is that you get paid to acquire a lead, and then that gives you the space to put out as much free content as you want to continue to shift perspective, give results in advance, and provide a clear path to yes. That's the type of content that we want to be doing on a consistent basis. And if you don't have time, energy, or money, or effort, then you're on the fastest track to burnout. And then the people who are the most visible because they become number one in your niche, they're the ones who acquire the customer or client. So what do? Well, first things first is you get your clients on Instagram, then you get a cash infusion, then we build that pressure-free system where you literally just create an unlimited ad budget. You become the most visible, you become number one in your niche, and then you can scale and grow your business to whatever revenue level you want. So I already said it, but I'll reiterate the 3 big content buckets that you want to be thinking about in terms of how you actually create conversion content. So what that means is conversion content is specifically designed to meet someone where they're at, solve the current problem that they're in, and create a gap and a reason for taking the next step. As someone who creates and helps hundreds of coaches on an ongoing basis, I see a lot of content. And oftentimes what I see people doing is trying to communicate a solution that people don't want or don't think that they need to solve a problem that people don't think that they're in. So think of it like this. Have you ever seen that image? Educational purposes only, I didn't create it, but it's one of those perspective video images where some people see a duck and some people see a bunny. So what happens is that people are out there being like, buy my organic duck food, buy the duck food, buy the duck food, to people who think that they have a bunny, not a duck. So conversion content is exactly how you answer those 4 questions that people have on their mind. Why should I listen to you? Will this work? Will this work for me? And do I need this now? And I like to break up the content types into these 3 categories. Perspective shifting, where you have to shift perspective. Then results in advance. This is where you deepen that sense of trust. You give people quick wins and you show, not tell them, you show them that this process works. Then you invite them to say yes to themselves. Now, this is going to require you to shift your perspective on selling because most people are caught in this 90-day cycle of, okay, I'm going to do this promotional period for a week, and then I'm going to nurture, and build, know, like, and trust, and keep just nurturing, which is what I like to call that feast and famine cycle of revenue, when in fact, you are a business and it's your responsibility as a business owner to bring in revenue. Think about a restaurant. A restaurant doesn't open up their doors for 1 week and then close it for the next, 60 days, get on a wait list and then open. Now, sure, there's going to have, there are those restaurants that are only open for a week at a year and then they have really 3-year wait lists. And it really depends on your business, on the economics of your business and what it is that you're trying to build. There are so many different ways that you can make sure that you're generating revenue every single day while having a high touch, high caliber experience that has limited spots. So it really depends on what you're trying to do. What we like to do here is get paid every single day. So that's going to require that you have content every single day that makes a case for making a purchase. So now in this case, since we are working on driving clients, not customers, the content experience that we want to make a case for is offer forward. So we want an offer forward post. So what this means is, hey, I'm taking clients. We use a very unique process. This is for you if, this isn't for you if. And if you're curious about how this process could work for you, send me a DM with the word, give them a specific word. And then now you need to make a case for why that DM conversation is valuable. In the DM, I'll give you a clear path on specifically how to solve this problem to get this outcome. There's literally zero pressure. You'll walk away with clarity in what your best next steps are, even if we don't work together. So what you have to do in this offer forward post is make a case for why the DM conversation is valuable. You also have to remove any and all buying decisions. So you might be thinking, but Beverly, you told me that everyone has to buy every single day. Yes, but people love to buy things they hate to be sold to. And within the last 90 days, I guarantee you they have had an awful experience in the DM. They've had an awful experience maybe on the phone, which causes friction, causes resistance to connecting with you, but they just haven't met you yet. So think of it like this. Are you married to the first person that you kissed? Likely not. You had to kiss a lot of frogs before you get to that next person, to the person that you are meant to connect with. And so the same thing is happening here. You wouldn't just stop cooking because you got burned on the stove. So you need to create content that removes any and all resistance. How do you do that? Well, you address the truth of what it is that they're experiencing. You make a strong case for why your process is the best process in order to get the outcome that they want, not what they need and not what you want them to want. And then you continue to invite them to say yes. Growth equals visibility. You can't buy from the internet's best kept secret. Value, which we already unpacked what valuable actually is, and volume. Volume both in the number of touch points that people see the ask and volume in the number of people that see it. Which leads to number 4, your posting schedule. Listen, maybe it's an unpopular opinion. People struggle to stay consistent. I'll say it this way. Consistency wins over anything. I had an accelerator client that posted 3 times a month, and every time he posted, he got a client. So you teach your audience and the algorithms how you show up. Now, for me, especially if I was looking to grow, especially if Instagram was my number 1 place, I would post at least once, if not 3 to 5 times a day, especially now. Good news is that with our repurposing tools that we use, it literally can be so much easier than you think. So here's just a quick example of a schedule that we typically would do if we were running a rapid lean launch. It's going to be an offer forward. So it's, hey, I'm taking X amount of clients, and then make a case for the DM conversation. And then I'm going to start going into value stacking. So the value stacking that I like to do is polarizing. So belief shifting piece of content. What are some of the mistakes and misconceptions that they are operating from that is preventing them from getting the desired outcome? Let's start shifting their perspective and then inviting them to take the next step in the DMs and addressing any and all resistance that they might have about the DMs. Then we're going to go into another value stacking, which is going to be an educational piece on how to, or a value add, something that is going to demonstrate that your process actually works, and then invite them into a DM. So now here's one of the things that people continuously miss when it comes to the conversion component of an educational piece of content. Because I said so is not enough of a reason for someone to lean in. Again, answer those 4 questions. Why should they listen to you? Will this work, and will this work for me? And do I need this now? How do you do that? You back up your claims with case study. your reason why you know that. Then we're going to stack on your connection pieces of content, which is going to show that you are relatable as well as aspirational. Connect on a human level with story that layers in conversion components. Then we're going to tap into the urgency, and sometimes it can be scarcity in number of spots, and sometimes it's going to be your outer urgencies in terms of enrollment closing or expiring bonus, or it's going to be the harder type of urgency, which is inner urgency, which is what's at stake if they don't take action now. And that's going to be your content plan during this implementation component. And of course, that's just the bare min. Other things that we do are collaborations. And then that's just your posting schedule. And then on top of it, since we are trying to access 30% of the audience that we already have, let's go live. Go live, because it automatically moves your circle all the way up to the front, so that you can stay top of mind, because all of your followers get notified when you go. Not only do all of your followers who are online get notified that you're live, if your followers come online, your live bubble goes all the way up to the top, puts you top of mind. And number one in visibility. Okay, number 5, now that we are clear on what our content is, people ask, well, what about stories? So that's just the posting schedule. In your stories, you're going to do the same thing. This is your opportunity to go deeper. So now, I said this on a post where I talked about how no one's going to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars with you on a 7-second reel. Your feed and your reels and your carousel, these are your opportunity to get seen, to reach masses. Now, carousels are going to be your opportunity to go just a little bit deeper with people. However, when they are connecting with you, it's watching your behind the scenes. It's watching what you're doing in the stories. So you're also inviting people from the stories to connect with you deeper inside of the DMs. Next up, we're going to access other people's audiences. So remember when I said there was a difference between authority and expertise? Well, when you can borrow authority. So when you do collaborations with your colleagues, with past clients, with current clients, you are essentially borrowing their audience, and they are borrowing their authority, because they are saying, hey, this is my go-to expert. And it automatically gets to deepen a sense. It automatically creates trust and buy-in in your process. So can you do collaborations? Can you go live? Can you ask for an email shout out from a trusted colleague or client, past client, and you can borrow each other's authority? People ask, even today in 2025, do I need hashtags? Yes, use hashtags for no other reason except to teach Instagram who you show up for, what this post is about, and where you want this post to go. So yes, use hashtags. Number one question people ask, do I have to do outbound? So let's talk about what outbound means to you. I'm going to tell you what outbound means to me. So I'm not a huge fan, never been a huge fan of DMing 100 strangers who've never heard of you before. This is usually because you're taught to love bomb people, meaning go watch their stories, tell them you like their kids, go, connect with them. But what happens when people do that is they're connecting with the intention of trying to turn them into a client, which to me lacks authority, or to me lacks authenticity. People can smell it a mile away. We've all been bombed in our DMs. And then if you don't take the action, if they don't take the action that you want them to take, you ghost, which is blood bombing, which is not what I teach and not how I help people get clients on Instagram. And in the same breath, if you want to get likes, comments, shares, why wouldn't you give likes, comments, shares? So here's what the outbound process looks like in my world. Number one, I keep my feed very clean. I don't follow anybody that does not fill up my cup. I want to be inspired. I want to feel joy when I'm on the platform. I do not follow people just for the sake of following it. And I want to follow my clients. I want to see their stuff. So the outbound process that looks like for me is I connect with every person that follows me. I connect with people that comment on my stuff. I comment everything. I comment back. I comment a comment back. I block the negative comments. I comment on my clients' posts. I post my own content. And then I go and look and see where my clients are hanging out and see what questions that they are asking other people that are getting left unanswered. And I either create content around it sometimes, and then I go and create content around it. But I get active on the platform. I'm commenting. I like things in a way that is true, honest, authentic. Because Instagram wants you to spend time on the platforms. Meanwhile, I've kept my content very inviting. So when someone comes to my page, they are invited to take action every single time. There is never a question of what's my best next step. So much so that after you've executed the 7-day promotion experience of offer forward on taking clients, you by then have booked your next 5 to 10 calls or 5 to 10 sales conversations in the DMs. You get your clients, and then we begin the process of setting up the system to scale. So either you got your cash infusion, you got your clients, or you didn't. So now what? Stay tuned for the next episode, and I'll share with you exactly what the best next step is now when we are getting set up to scale. And if you already know that you need help or more assistance, then I would schedule your free profit plan, and I'll show you how we can help you put this process inside of your business. It's free, no pressure. I'll see you in the next episode.